Hello there, welcome to the Web News with our pick of the stories making the online headlines. Coming up on today's show, artists and performers from across the globe putting climate change in the spotlight, an international solidarity movement for Egypt's political prisoners, and a New Zealander takes on 5 extreme sports in 1 hour. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken part in rallies across the globe in the run-up to the Climate Summit, which opened in New York on Tuesday, calling on world leaders to take concrete measures to tackle climate change. Artists have also joined the global movement, creating performances to highlight the environmental issue. In Australia, for example, several dozen artists came up with an extremely novel way of reaching out to their government with a very clear message: you've got your head in the sand. The aim of this unusual protest was to criticise Canberra's lack of action over climate change and prompt a change in policy. The performance was coordinated by a conservation group and has been widely relayed on social networks. Activists from the Raging Grannies organisation have put their grievances to music and were singing at the massive New York climate change march over the weekend. The lyrics urge global political leaders to take urgent steps to protect the planet for future generations. Spanish artist Isaac Cordal has the same request. Over the past few years, he's been creating miniature sculptures, warning web users of the threats of climate change. The artworks depict the tragic consequences of global warming and people doing what they can to get by. Over 100 political prisoners in Egypt, jailed for breaking the country's law criminalising any unauthorised protest, have been on hunger strike for several weeks. And now Egyptians from across the country are joining them, using social networks to relay their fight and call for their release. Many have announced their hunger strike via Twitter, saying they'll be abstaining from food for 24 or 48 hours in solidarity with the political prisoners. Same story on Facebook. This student union, for example, has posted a message of support with the prisoners on hunger strike, the stated aims being to obtain their release and also to convince the authorities to drop the law, which they say goes against the Egyptian constitution. The movement's also looking for help from abroad. The Egypt Solidarity Initiative website has set up the 1,000 Hours of Hunger page, calling on web users the world over to go without food for 24 hours to show their opposition to Cairo's crackdown on human rights. Many have responded to the appeal, like these students from the University of London, for example, who have also joined the international solidarity movement. And according to the author of the Egyptian Chronicles activist blog, this campaign for the political prisoners could soon pay off. He reports that several ministers have already suggested the protest law will be amended to appease angry citizens. Reforms that could come in the very near future. A local news reporter in Alaska, Charlotte Green, has become the latest web sensation.
Fuck it, I quit.
After swearing and quitting live on air on Sunday night. The news professional said she wanted to focus her attention on the campaign to legalize marijuana in Alaska. Social networks have since been abuzz with messages praising her renegade spirit. This infographic, put together by the personal creation site, looks at how long it takes to read popular books. So you need to put aside a little over half an hour to complete Sophocles' Antigone, and Homer's Odyssey with its 120,000 words would take almost 7 hours to read. And topping the chart and just ahead of the Harry Potter series is the still-to-be-completed Game of Thrones saga, with fans of the medieval fantasy having to settle down for a good 98 hours and counting. Armenian photographer Suren Manvelian captures detailed close-ups of animal eyes The photos provide an astonishing level of detail, showing their diversity and complexity. And while sometimes it's easy to identify which creature they belong to, as is the case with the snail or the crocodile, for example, others are a bit more difficult. And you can view the entire collection on the artist's website. In this video, we see Chuck Berry, an athlete from New Zealand, practice 5 extreme sports in just 1 hour. The spectacular footage is available to view on YouTube and sees the daredevil take on parachuting, snowboarding, mountain biking, bungee jumping and speedboating.